we have Morgan Overton, who is the president of the Young Democrats of Allegheny County, who is overall a fascinating person who's been involved in local and state government, who's been involved in science and art and social work. And we'd like to talk with her as we go along here about how to become involved on voting access, and making sure that our elections are fair and that everybody gets to vote. Ms. Frank's talking about getting people involved, in the policy level, on the voting level. When we're talking about, Young Democrats, we're talking about people who we're inspiring them to how they're going to be involved with public policy and with the world for the next 50 years. Could you talk a little bit about what you think about how we can go and do that?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me on this panel. And I think one thing that we need to really cement in our minds that we don't have to empower people. People already have power. And one main takeaway is that millennials and Gen Z combined will make the largest voting bloc. What are we doing with that power? Are we taking it for granted, or are we channeling it and fostering what Lisa talked about, right? That culture of continuous action, and normalizing it. You have to do things over and over again for it to become a habit, right? How do we create a habit of being inclusive of these voices that champion progress and champion transformative change, right? We need to get out of the mindset that young folks are disillusioned or don't care. Some of the most fiery advocates for issues that are on the ballot are young people. Young people are the ones who are raising up policy issues, right? Where changes can be made. They're the ones that are holding those in elected office accountable. But because they're young, they tend to be dismissed or seen as too radical or too loud, or want these, these impossible ideas like healthcare, right? And in my work with youth over the past decade, whether that's been in political organizing or community organizing, one point that I tried to convey to them was that the most pivotal moments of social change in our collective history was due to the participation of youth. Congressman Doyle spoke about John Lewis earlier. He was only 21 years old when he joined the Freedom Rides. And even today, we see the Parkland students who created the most pivotal movement for gun control. These issues are on the ballot. So young people are voting. It's just a matter of institutional barriers. Youth vote to the point that in the 2020 election, half of youth turned out to vote, and it was an 11-point increase from the 2016 election. And even more when you consider voters of color. I think about 87% of Black youth turned out to vote for President Biden. I think as a party, we have an onus of responsibility of using our leverage, whether that is an elected official, a community organizer. If you're a softball coach, you have a responsibility of having very intentional messaging when it comes to voting. And you can't just say, oh, go vote, your vote matters. You have to lay out what it means and what the impact is of your vote, right? All politics is local, all politics is personal. Through the Young Democrats of Allegheny County, we've really tried to channel the importance of local elections through partnership, right? Lisa spoke about partnerships. We partnered with Pennsylvanians for Modern Courts to demonstrate how pivotal judicial races are. And we made history. And in Allegheny County, we voted 6 of 10 Court of Common Pleas judges who are women, 4 of them are Black, and of course with Mayor Gainey's election, right? So it's just about making a habit of getting this messaging out that goes beyond the surface of saying your vote matters. What are we doing in the meantime? We can't just rally up energy when election day is next week. We can't just rally up energy when someone turns 18. We need to make a habit of their participation in our democracy when they're first born. And that's what my parents did with me. I mean, I got my technical start in politics as an organizing fellow for Barack Obama, but I was arguing with kids on the school bus about why John Kerry should be president, right? I knew about the importance of voting in 2000 and I was just this tall. But we need to normalize the participation of young folks because they literally are our future.